Good evening and welcome to the Cost of Coping. I am your host, Chrissy, and this is Chapter 2, Who Am I? Bipolar Edition. Today on the Cost of Coping, I'm joined by someone whose voice has become incredibly important in the mental health space. James Fox is the founder of My Mad Head, a platform dedicated to honest conversations about mental health, identity, and what it really means to live with your mind, not against it. James has been open about his own journey with bipolar disorder, and through his work, he's helped thousands of people feel less alone in theirs. His story isn't about neat recovery arcs, it's about learning how to survive, adapt, and even grow while living with something that never really switches off. I'm really grateful to have James here with me today to talk about the reality behind the diagnosis, the cost of coping, and what it means to keep showing up for yourself when your mind doesn't always make it easy. James, thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So I'm just going to ask you a series of questions as discussed. So when did you first start to notice that something wasn't quite right with your mood or energy levels, and what was that experience like for you?
I think sort of young adult, late teens, young adult, that kind of age, I was realizing that maybe I wasn't coping with things the way friends were, family were, or I was expected to cope with things. That wasn't when I sort of had a diagnosis, so I went through many years of ups, downs, very big sort of manic bits and very low depressions as well. Um, and then when I started going to the doctors then about 22 and they were giving me sort of depression tablets and stuff like that, but not really questioning anything, just going, oh, you're feeling a bit low, here's some medication, which is all well and good for some people, but I think in the bigger picture of things, it should have been questioned a lot more. And then obviously that process went on for some time. And then eventually I got my diagnosis back in early 2021. I believe so, just before, early 2021, which is getting the diagnosis has got pros and cons. So then, you get the diagnosis, you go, right, okay, there is a problem, there is something we can work on. But then something that always plays on my mind, and I'm not sure if it's with everyone else, is why am I feeling this way? Why have I got the diagnosis? Kind of, I want to be a bit normal. I want to be able to go out and do things differently. I want to be able to think normally and not have the ups and downs. But yeah, there's a pro and a con to everything.
Definitely, definitely. So can you take us back to the moment you were diagnosed with bipolar? How did it feel to finally have a name for what you were going through?
I felt a bit of relief, to be honest with you, because I'd gone back for the doctors for many years, been on waiting lists for God knows how long. I think at the moment the waiting list is about 4 years to have certain, diagnosis looked into and stuff like that. So when I got it, I did feel a bit relieved, as if like, oh, okay, well, at least I'm not just acting up. I'm not just, doing these foolish things and whatever it may have been at the time and just feeling really low for no reason. There was something, diagnosed there. So yeah, bit of a relief, but then at the same time, it was a thought of I heard very bad things about bipolar, through social media and stuff like that, and you kind of think I always thought bipolar was very like crazy and that you couldn't kind of recover or have a normal day. So I was a bit worried as well. I mean, a bit relief that I got something diagnosed and we could work on it, but a bit scared of what that meant. So yeah, a bit of an emotional day with kind of highs and lows on that as well.
Awesome. And what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about bipolar disorder, and how have those affected you personally?
Um, I think, as I mentioned briefly there, that when you get diagnosed with bipolar, or you tell your family or your friends or employers or whatever it may be, I think you get prejudged quite a bit because bipolar is known as being a bit, crazy and wild, and it can be, but also some people are very focused, hardworking, and get things done. And I just feel like you get judged or maybe don't get looked at the same way once you've given your diagnosis or once you've spoken out about it. I think you just get a bit like looked at a bit like, oh, you're a bit mad, like so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. No, I completely agree. I try to withhold the autistic ADHD diagnosis from everyone around me until I know fully.
yeah,
Because I know that people judge. And I know that that's just the way that
And
life
also,
is
if
at
you're
the
going
moment,
for, even
unfortunately.
things like new
So
job
that's
roles or
fine.
anything like that,
Um,
I think you can be like prejudged for job roles, or if anybody knows you, they kind of prejudge you on a situation before you've even kind of done anything about it. So yeah.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. And how does bipolar show up in your day-to-day life? Not just in extreme highs and lows, but in the quieter moments too.
With myself, so my bipolar is like my mind is racing all the time. Like I don't have downtime. Downtime to me is like if I sit still and try to focus on a film, for example, that's quite a normal thing for people to do. I can't concentrate. I can't sit still. My brain's like 100 miles an hour. Not all negative stuff, just busy, busy, busy. That may be when I'm on a meeting and work. Speaking to yourself now, I can say something that'll trigger me to think about something else. So I'm very all over the place all the time. So yeah, that can be hard to concentrate. Certainly if you've got a task or a deadline, I find that things like that are hard to manage. But then on other days, I could be extremely focused and smash through all the tasks at once. So yeah, just trying to juggle that and make the most out of each day really.
Get you. What coping strategies or routines have helped you the most when things start to feel overwhelming for you?
I think recently, it's only recent that I've started coping better. I used to cope and go and have a drink and stuff like that. And for myself, that's just not a good idea. It's kind of a stepping stone to a kind of manic state and stuff like that in most occasions. And it certainly leads to like a normal hangover, but then I have an extreme depression if I drink as well. So now coping, I do quite a bit of fitness and stuff like that. I always try to keep ticking over there, try and be sort of present and speak to my wife about it and stuff like that as well. And I can kind of feel myself building now as well, which is good because if you kind of get in front of it a bit, you can't always control it, but at least you know what's going to happen and how you act most of the time, so you can kind of judge it a bit better and maybe put yourself out of situations or maybe not go out in a social environment where lots of things are going to be overwhelming and trigger you even further. So yeah, just kind of judging it better and making the most out of certain situations each time.
Get you. And how has bipolar affected your relationships with friends, family, or even how you see yourself?
That's a bit of a tough one. Yeah, I generally believe I've probably upset every person in my life at some point, more than once with friends and family, ex-partners, employees. I'm really like, I know what type of person I am. I know I'm a loving, caring person. It generally makes me sad to think that I can't take the pain back that I've caused by shouting, screaming, and just being like a manic state and just being I don't know, just not very nice person. And that generally hurts me that I've upset people and said things that are just, not right, really. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, all them things affect me quite a lot, and I think about them on a daily basis. But I think then I like talking about things like this because I think a lot of other people struggle with leaving the past where the past is and trying your best to move forward. And it's all right me saying that, but I need to kind of listen to myself sometimes and try to do that a bit more because I do live with quite a lot of the pain in the past.
Yeah, I get you. My father used to say to me that you should only ever have to apologize once. And if that person doesn't accept your apology, then they weren't worth it. I
Yeah.
understand that we can all hurt somebody at times, but then it's the genuine people who you should always be able to forgive. Don't always forget, but you should always be able to forgive no matter what. I forgive a lot of people in my life that have hurt me, um, because that to me is my closure and my peace.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree with you there, and I think the key point you said there is they don't forget, and I think that's more the painful things. A lot of people do say, "No, I understand, I appreciate the apology, and you can have a relationship to a certain level." But I believe once you've said certain things and acted in certain ways, they'll never forget. You'll never be looked at quite the same as you were maybe your original relationship to them. So yeah, that's difficult to
definitely.
live with.
But you've learned from it. And that is peace in itself.
Yeah. There's every cloud, as they say. So learning to your peace with it and learning not to act like that again is one thing. I think with bipolar, certainly when I go into a kind of manic state or something like that, is I can kind of see myself acting like it, and I want to snap myself out of it and be like, "We've been here before. Let's not." Sometimes it's gets away a bit too quick, and certain situations happen, and it's a bit of a bad day then.
I understand. And was there a turning point in your journey where you started to understand or accept your condition more fully?
I think that's been over the past 2 years really, that I've gone, right, okay, you can't do all the things that, I always go back to my friends who've gone out drinking, I spent a lot of the time out with the boys and whatever and stuff like that, and my wife as well. But, them situations and being in environments like that make me feel uncomfortable. I still go out and socialise and stuff like that, but I know how easy it is for me to lean into a drink or lean into a substance or whatever and feel that few hours of sort of numbness and stuff like that. But past 2 years, I felt, no, I'm kind of controlling myself a lot better. I'm looking to improve myself all the time. Not every day's an easy day or an improvement, but controlling them variables, like I mentioned earlier, is key to, I think, my growth and improvement in myself.
Definitely. I've been on my medication for over 2 years now, and I haven't touched a drop of alcohol because there is a chance that if I drink alcohol, it could be fatal. So,
Yeah,
I completely agree that I was awful on alcohol, especially when I mixed my drinks,
yeah,
and I could become quite nasty if somebody said the wrong thing to me or anything. So I'm
yeah.
really proud that you've actually gone down that route because you'll be surprised the amount of people that have stopped drinking, not just purely for mental health reasons, but for health reasons in themselves.
It's funny
Loads
you
of
should say
people
that.
now.
Loads and loads. Yeah, you're spot on. Loads, and it's nice to see. So, as you said, like the aggression side of things as well. I could see people sometimes on eggshells around me, like, oh, if I say this kind of joke or this bit of banter with him, he might act great 1 minute, and then bang, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, and then all of a sudden I'm kicking myself and upset and emotional and all the other bits that come with it. And a lot of the time, it's like my side of it with drink was I didn't want to be here anymore, which is hard to say. But I don't think, looking back at it, it wasn't I didn't want to be here. It was I wanted a stop button. I wanted the chaos to stop. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't so
Yeah,
much about not being alive. It was just, please just stop the madness at the moment. I just need a pause and a reset. But yeah, so I think if I control them variables and not put anything else in my body except for my medication, then I'm much more level person. By far from perfect, don't be wrong, but much more level situation and level headed than what I was a few years back.
yeah. And it's easy to turn around though and say, like you said, that you did not that you didn't want to be here, but the amount of times that I even tried taking my life in
Mm-hmm.
2010, I ended up in hospital, and I didn't do it again. Of course, that there was times afterwards that I did want to go down that path,
Yeah,
and I realized that it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to be here; it was I didn't want to be in the situation that I was in anymore.
yeah, and that's
So
what I've realised. I've done the same as you. I end up in hospital at a young age, and then, to be honest, nobody really knows about this one. But I tried again and failed, and end up on the floor and whatever. But I won't go into detail with it. And then I was annoyed myself that I was a failure for that as well, which is quite sad in itself. But really, looking back, I don't think at any of them points. Like, thankfully, I didn't die, but I don't think at any of them points I didn't want to be alive, but I wanted the chaos to just stop. So I would
yeah.
describe it to my wife. I tried to talk to her, and I said, "The red button. I just want to press the red button and pause to take a moment because it's just going too much."
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah. So
definitely. And what has been the emotional cost of coping with bipolar, and what have you learned about yourself along the way?
I think the emotional cost is it that I don't particularly. Well, I was going to say I don't particularly like myself, but I'm starting to like myself again. But for many years, I didn't like myself. I didn't like who I was. Didn't like things I'd done, and I couldn't couldn't let go of that. So the emotional cost was just draining. Like I just felt battered every day. It felt like a zombie just because I was just so fed up of me. But I think the past 2 years, certainly the past year, started to like myself again, started to improve and stuff like that. But also the emotional cost then on friends, family, and stuff like that. I think, as we mentioned earlier, you cause a lot of pain and you can apologise, but how many times is sorry enough? Do you know what I mean? And I've upset the same people several times, and they must look at me sometimes and think, enough's enough. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it
I
can be
get
difficult.
you.
It's very draining.
Yeah, but you can see as well, like you mentioned, your fitness now. Like I'm super proud that you started running. Now, something I would love to do. Unfortunately, I had an accident not so long ago, which has completely screwed my ankle. So, but it is something that I'm looking to go back to, and bodybuilding as well. I'll be looking to go back
Yeah,
to
I
in the
remember you used to
future.
do quite a lot of bodybuilding. We used to chat about that quite a bit, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I'm planning on going back to it, so
Oh, good.
it's in the works for this year now. But I've
Nice,
just
good,
obviously got
good.
to let myself heal first. So, but yeah, would you say that the exercise has benefited you in regards to the coping?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think any type of exercise, even if just going out walking, fresh air, stuff like that. And I know it's a bit of a cliche, everyone says it, but even sort of diet and stuff like that. Like on the weekend, I binge a load of junk, man. So maybe I should listen to myself a bit more. But the cleaner stuff you eat, the more you kind of train and get back into your fitness. And it doesn't have to be bodybuilding, running. It can be just something, maybe tennis, whatever, golf, or just getting out and doing something rather than being in the house all the time. I think just doing something active is a
Yeah,
benefit. Takes your mind off maybe a situation or something you think about that could be a flare up of something or get you into a depressive state. 'Cause I know I've noticed myself there's flare ups of certain things. It might be a bit of anxiety. Maybe I've got a meeting or a presentation or something that I've got to do. And even something like this, like if I was in a bit of a worse mood, that I would be sweating bullets by it. But today I've woken up in quite a good mood. So I think doing all them positive things, being active and stuff like that, and just building on yourself, yeah, it's definitely a benefit from it.
yeah, as well as you mentioned, the healthy eating as well. I find that once I'm eating a lot cleaner, I find that my mood improves so much more. I
Yeah.
find eating fresh meals are just so much better than eating shit food.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. As I said, I had a load of junk on the weekend, so I'm one to talk. But afterwards, straight away, you go, "Oh, I feel rough." And then for weeks before, eating clean and stuff like that, and was feeling great with a bit of a spring in my step. But you can have a bit of downtime and stuff like that. But it's just knowing what's good for you and what's not, really.
Definitely, I couldn't agree more. If someone listening has just been diagnosed, what is the one thing you wish someone had told you at the start?
You're not a monster. That's what I wish somebody told me, because that's definitely how I felt for a long time. I felt like I didn't deserve to be happy. I didn't deserve this and that, and I was a bit of a monster and just horrible. But you're not. You just lean into what you're good at, find out what triggers you, and try your best to work on them. And as I said a few times, try and control the variables. Like when mate was drinking substances and whatever else. So if you try and control them, hopefully you have a bit more of a level of life, and you can see things that are peaking or depression coming in and stuff like that, and you can kind of work into that. What's going to work for you?
Yeah, definitely. Just for the record, I've never thought you were a monster. I actually think the world of you, so,
Thank
and
you
I
very
always
much.
have, so you know that. And so let's talk more about the brand. So, how did you start the brand of My Mad Head?
So, as you know, I've suffered quite some time, and I've always wanted to do stuff, and I've been to a few meetings and stuff before, which was leaning into helping ourselves. And then September last year, I believe it was Cardiff 10K. Me, one of my mates, and another couple that I know, we're all going to do the 10K and raise a bit of money and stuff like that. And I made a T-shirt for myself, which is the It's Mental T-shirt. And my mate Dave broke his ankle, and the other couple then had flu. And I drove up there and I couldn't get out of the car, and I'd had a bit of a panic attack because they were kind of like my support sort of thing. And I had a bit of a panic attack, couldn't get out of the car, and I was just like sweating and in bits and whatever. And I went home, and the dean said, "Well, the T-shirt you've made's really like cool. I think it's brighter, but understands a deeper message to it. Why don't you just stick it online?" And I was like, oh, all right. So I never thought of selling it or raising money. I just put it up. And it went bonkers, and we sold about 200 in 3 weeks and give loads of money to charity and stuff like that. So I built it from that then, and then actually creating and building stuff. I got a degree in design as well. So when I was going back to that, I was loving it. I was sitting there each night creating stuff, and it's been kind of my peaceful place at the moment with my madness going onto a bit of paper and then into a design process. So that's how that's come about. And then from that post, I started having therapy myself with a company called Big Moose in Cardiff. And what I found was, because I was waiting for therapy sessions through the NHS for so long and diagnosis, they were instant. I filled out a form. Within 2 days, they would give me therapy sessions. So if anybody is in a place where they need kind of instant relief or at least a decent conversation, go and check out Big Moose. They're linked on my page as well. And my kind of goal is to raise money for people to get more instant therapy sessions or the support they need, whether it's coming to one of our meetups, having a chat openly, finding other people that are maybe in the same situation, or just getting yourself out really. But obviously with Big Moose, they have got, I think it's over 40 or 50 different therapists in all different mental health avenues. So if anybody does need anything or just need some more advice on that, drop me a message.
Awesome. It's great that you've actually been able to create a design like that, like the t-shirts, like you said, you sold 200 in 3 weeks. You're
Mm-hmm.
really showing that you can break the stigma
Mm-hmm.
because you see these, I've seen them today going around Bridgend. Um, boys get sad too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it'd be nice if you could get to that level and get that kind of promotion in regards to my
Mhm.
mad head
Well, I
now.
had one. I had one today. A gentleman, he's Wales' strongest man. His name's Mark. He had one on and put me in a post today, doing a big deadlift and stuff. So when things pop up like that, it's great. And like and now and again, people send me pictures of people. Oh, I've just seen one of your tops out. So at the moment, all the money's gone to charity. A lot of it went to Mind. Some of it is still available because if people are looking for therapy, I may be able to help with stuff like that as well. So some of it is sitting in a charity pot, but there'll be more events coming up as well. So maybe me and you will have a chat. Maybe we'll do a bit of a walk or something and raise some money while having a chat
You know
about
me,
mental
I'm
health.
always up for
Yeah,
it. Definitely. Well, thank you for joining us today, James. I really appreciate it. We will continue on this chapter with another guest speaker in the coming week. Love and light to you all always. Thanks. Take care.
yeah. Take care.